Welcome guys to DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Today is episode 1 on food plots of 2023. Please smash that like and subscribe button and help me grow this channel. Today I'm doing what we have to start with before we start a food plot. I'm starting with soil samples, okay? That is what we're doing. I've already got a bag here started, and I'm going to show you how to do soil samples. I'm going to take you around and show you a few of the farms that we're doing them on, showing you what the plot is. This was standing corn last year, and buck forage oats in the middle, the green. And this green ran, this is about a 5-acre food plot, and very successful plot for us this year and in 2022. And we're planning on doing the exact same thing in 2023. We're going to plant corn down here again. We're going to have some buck forage oats or some cereal rye, one of the two. And then we're likely going to have maybe the corner behind the camera. We're going to put in maybe turnips and radishes and do a trio down here that I think will very much benefit us through hunting season and after hunting season. So the first thing you want to do is when you're starting soil sampling, you want to take samples from multiple places in the field. Don't just take one sample. And what you do is when you take a sample, I'm going to show you here, and we get back where you can see me. And sit like this, and then you're going to push the probe in the ground. We're in kind of rocky ground here, so I've got about 4 inches of soil there, and it's kind of coming out into a little bit of a, like a little bit of a log, you can see. And what you're going to do with it is you're just going to take it and you're going to crush it up as you're putting it in the bag. Okay? And so that kind of mixes everything together. You can see that or not, it's kind of all loose in there. And then before you take it off, you're gonna do what I'm doing, you're just mixing it all together. So that's the last sample from this farm right here. I take about 8 samples on this 5 acres. So what we're going to do today, I kind of got thrown a curveball on one of my leases, and I'm gonna take you to it, and I'm gonna show you exactly what the plan was, what the plan is now. And I think it's going to be a really beneficial to y'all, kind of show you this is what I wanted to do, this is what we're going to have to do, and I'm going to explain it later on as we get to that farm. But this is the first farm. We're pulling soil samples. Make sure you pull your soil samples. A, it makes you know what's in your soil, and B, it can save you money. Last year we put about 150, we fertilized for about 150 bushel corn out here, and it didn't make 150 bushel. So I'm expecting these soil samples to come back and for me not to have to put as much P or K next year. But the nitrogen it's gonna be something that's gonna leach out of your soil. So you're gonna have to put it regardless, but this may save us a lot of money because we fertilized for a good crop last year and it was such a terrible, awful drought, we didn't make a crop. So up to this way right here to my right, there is tons and tons of woods, a big hillside. This is a little small bottom. Those trees that you see right there is all a creek. So this is a little creek bottom field, about a 5-acre field. And I just wanted to show y'all, you know, kind of the plot, show you some of the, if I can move this, which I can't. Okay. So, but anyway, so this is what I did last year. Worked out really well. And we're going to save a little time. Instead of me taking you on the Ranger ride, I'm just going to go like this. And we're back. We're at a different plot now. We're down the road a ways, pulling soil samples on another plot. This is a swamp farm right here. This little plot right here kind of goes up onto a hill, gains about 5 to 10 feet in elevation. All this down in here is complete swamp. So really, really good quality habitat down in there. There's a creek that runs this way. And what we're standing in is I planted corn here, and about half this plot, which is a small plot, this is maybe 3/4 of an acre plot, the deer ate the biggest majority of it. So I went in here what the deer had ate, and I disc it all down, started over in mid-October, and planted buck forage oats in here, which is the green as you can see behind. I'm sure you can't tell from the video, but they are hammering this stuff. This stuff is like crawling on the ground because it's got so much deer pressure on it. So really good. I scared a lot of whitetails when I came here. It's midday, 75-degree day here in West Kentucky. We got bad weather coming tonight. But I really like what I see on this plot. So Up on the farther end, I had the standing corn. It's all completely ate up now. And then we've got buck forage oats here that they've really ate on, really benefited over the winter time months. I'm unsure of what to do with this plot next year. This plot got hit extremely hard by whitetails, basically from about knee high up, and they just absolutely hammered it. But this is a wilderness area. There's nobody around to speak of, nobody to run them out. It's kind of difficult access to get back here every day. It's thicket all the way around this thing, and hundreds of acres of swamp back in there. And there's a high deer. Whoa, hello, Mr. Wind. Let's see if we can redo that. So high density deer zone right here. And so what I may do here is I have 2 plots on this farm, and the other side is much bigger. It's about a 3.5 acre field, and I may just plant all my corn on that side and leave that whole 3.5 acres in corn, and then come down here and plant my secondary plot of maybe turnips and radishes to help them rebuild in the wintertime. Unsure on that just yet, but I've got to take one more soil sample here. I've already took all the rest of them, and we are going to head over to the next plot. And instead of riding with me, I'm just going to go like this. Here we are on the other side of the farm. This is buck forage oats as well. This whole field is. This is probably about an acre field right here, somewhere in that range. And I grew soybeans on this farm last year, and now I'm coming back and I am planting buck forage oats on it. Is what I did last fall. So I let the soybeans grow all year long, and then I disc about half this way, and I left this for the beans that were there. There weren't many, but there was a few pods there. So this is this side of it. This will be all in corn, and then I'm going to swing you around. I'm going to take you on a quick walk and show you the next farm. So I had a little trouble getting through the fence with you guys. So we're on the other side now. This is about a 2.5 acre field that I had planted in standing corn. You can see there is nothing left of the corn anywhere. And you can see that's where we were just at. You can see the ranger over there. So I've got a little fence row here that separates the 2 fields. And this is the corn field. That was the bean field last year. I'm probably going to have all this in corn this year. I'm going to take a couple soil samples, and then we're going to get to the main reason that I've started this video, is the next farm that we're heading to. So y'all stay tuned and watch that. It's coming up here in just a second, and I'm going to show you the issues that we have with this next farm and how we're going to fix them. And it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff that I think will help you guys out. Got the soil samples pulled at the other farm, and now we are at a different farm. This is the one that I wanted to show you. I hope the wind's not an issue. We've got a big storm coming in tonight. The wind's blowing pretty hard out here, so I hope you can hear this okay. But anyway, here's what the video was about. Okay, I've got my soil samples pulled here. You know how to do that. I've already showed you multiple times. We're not going to beat a dead horse, but I'm going to show you what I had planned for this place and what we had to alter and what we're going to do. Okay, so this farm is about a 90 acre farm. I've had it this would be my 3rd year having it, and it hasn't been super good as far as hunting goes. Okay, they're here in the summer and they're here in October, and November shows up and they're gone. Okay, and we'll see a few does. December, they always kind of come back, but this farm is lacking on food. That's what it's lacking on, okay? All this back in there behind it is swamp. And it's not the good kind of swamp that you think of that's wet sometimes and then dries off and all kinds of good stuff kind of grow in there, and it's like a whitetail. That's a true swamp back in there, okay? So There's high spots and low spots, so there's potential back there. There's bedding back there in the spots, in certain spots. There's quality bedding for the whitetails. But what we're lacking on this farm is a food source for the fall and the winter months. That's what's going on. They're here during the summer, getting tons of pictures of them. In late October, early November, the food starts running out, they're gone. When this farm gets harvested, for 2 weeks, it's absolutely on fire. There's tons of deer in here. Most of the time, a hunting season is not open during that period. So we're just kind of sitting here watching these giants. There's some absolute swamp donkeys back in here. Some really, really big bucks that I would love to my clients to be able to harvest. So what we've decided to do, after this year of hunting this twice, the first year it was in beans, this year it was in corn. I thought, man, when this corn gets harvested, we are going to be fine. You know, beans, I already told you about that in one of my videos. Around here, beans aren't all that good, especially after they're harvested and they're rained on them a couple times. So they harvested this cornfield and there was 30, 40 deer out here every night. And I'm like, all right, here we go. We're going to kill them down here this year. It's going to be a great year. Well, then all of a sudden, our red oaks and our white oaks dropped like I've never seen them drop before. Tons and tons of acorns, and if you're a whitetail hunter, you know what happens when your acorns drop. They are going to leave, and they are going to those acorns, okay? There's no acorns on this farm. It's a flooded swamp, okay? There's no white oaks, no red oaks back in there, so they're gone. And so that really hurt us this year, and I'm tired of playing this game of, well, hopefully the ag crops will work out. I'm about to do something about it to make sure that we have something to hunt over here in the fall. So I thought this would really be good for y'all because this is a piece of lease land that I have. I don't own this farm, and I feel like a lot of you are likely in the same boat. You've got a lease, you want to put a food plot on. It's ag field all behind you that you can't see. And there's a little corner right up here. You can see that. It's just a low spot in the field. It doesn't make anything to speak of. The deer normally eat it up. Well, there's 3 of these. You can see one behind me, there's one over here, and there's another one right there on the other side of that fence row. And I asked the landowner for permission to plant all 3 of these in corn, standing corn for my whitetails. She said, I don't see the problem with that. Let me talk to the farmer and we'll go from there. So she calls him. The landowner calls the farmer, and the farmer says, no, he can plant what we're not planting, but we want to keep what we've got out. That's fine. No disrespect to farmers. I'm a farmer. I understand he's trying to make a living on the land. I totally understand that. But this is something that y'all might have to deal with when you don't own the land. If you own the land, you could just say, hey, don't plant this. Don't plant this right here. I'm going to food plot it. And he'll do it. But when you're a leasee, as I am, I don't have any say on the farm, okay? And all I've got to do is ask permission, and it didn't work out for me this time, okay? So I've lost a ½ acre here that I thought that I might be able to plant in corn. So this leaves me in a dang predicament, okay? Because I've got a ½ acre here. This spot is 51 feet long. I just measured it out. It's 250 feet. I'm sorry, 51 feet wide, 250 foot long. This one over there that you can't see as well is 51 foot wide, 280 feet long. So we roughly have a ½ acre to work with here. That is going to be mighty, mighty tough, okay? As you can see, there's trees that line both sides of this thing, okay? So sunlight's going to be an issue because they're like this. Also, coons and deer are going to be a huge issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to plant this food plot, and we are going to fence it off for our whitetails, and we're going to try our best to get a plot. This is not something that I would recommend to you. I hope we can learn a lot from this together. This is a small plot. I mean, this is tiny, a ½ acre, and it's not like it's a ½ acre where you've got a lot out in the middle. There's got a lot of inrows where you get tree sap. That one thing that's going for this farm that I'm even contemplating doing this, is it's a little wet. So there should be moisture in the ground most of the year here. This is not something that I'm going to come in here in the 1st of April and plant. This is still going to be wet. This is going to be probably late May before I get down here to plant this, which leads me to another issue. The access road, the farmer plants. So all I can get is a Ranger back here. So I'm gonna have to do this old school, okay? I'm gonna keep this sprayed down is the very first thing that I'm gonna do when spring green up comes, is I'm gonna spray this. You can see it's kind of been bush hogged. This side has not. So I need to get a bush hog down here. I need to keep this junk sprayed off. That'll help it dry out some. And I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna cut a lot of these limbs, okay? This wind's killing me today, I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna cut a lot of these limbs. I'm not gonna cut them all because I wanna keep some scrape branches, but I've got to let some sunlight get on my crops if I'm gonna have something to hunt over this fall. So that's what I'm got planned for right here. Now, that was my original plan, was to plant all 3 of these in corn. I'd have about an acre. I'd be fine. I think I would be fine with an acre of corn. As big an area as that is, I don't think I have any trouble. So now that I've got a wrench thrown in the gearbox and I've only got a ½ acre, I've got to plant a backup plan in case this does not work out, okay? Because this is high likelihood of failure, being this small of a plot and being this shaded by the trees. This is going to be mighty tough for corn. Clover is not an option here. It's wet. So you're basically you're restricted to annuals. Alfalfa is not an option here. It's wet. You're restricted to annuals here. Soybeans, they're never going to let the soybeans do anything, and I don't like hunting over them, so that's not an option for me this time. If all fails here, and hopefully it doesn't, hopefully we're going to figure this out and we're going to work through this together, and I'm going to show you exactly every step I take. If this all works out or does not work out, I will come back here late September 15th around, and I will plant green plots in these and give the deer something, okay? It's not going to be as good as the corn, but sometimes that's just all we can do with what we have. Okay, now here is the backup plan in case this fails. I'm gonna have the oats probably or cereal rye here. There's a logging road that goes into this swamp about 150 yards that way. I'm gonna take you over there in a minute and show it to you. I did not want to have to do this because this is going to be a tremendous amount of work, and this is cottonmouth country down here, and I don't like messing with cottonmouths, okay? We're in Kentucky. They're not really a big deal, but right here in this area, they are thick as hair on a cat's back, okay? So makes me a little nervous going into the swamp in midsummer when those things are active. But what I'm gonna do, if I can at all, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna clean up that logging road. It's pretty wide. It's probably, just going off memory here, 30-35 feet wide. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna spray it, I'm gonna fertilize it, I'm gonna wait before rain, and I'm gonna try to plant some brassicas in here in probably early August is what I'm gonna try to do, and hopefully get a lot of growth on those brassicas inside that swamp. And I'm gonna set a shooting house on the back, and I'm hopefully gonna go for 150 yards or so. That'll give me quite a bit of food for the whitetails to have in security, and I'm gonna put a blind out there, and hopefully that goes well, because we got to figure out something on this farm. We don't have food, and that is absolutely key. We're struggling on this farm because we don't have it. We're not struggling on any of the other farms because we're able to plant it. We're able to have plots. The farmers that we're working with on those farms, I farm a lot of them myself, but the other farmers that farm them, they're fine with it. They realize that a corner like this is not profitable for most farmers in high deer density zones. That's going to be ate up. But some, and like I said, I'm not, no disrespect whatsoever, but some guys you just can't say, you can't tell that, and they won't listen to you. So they're going to plant it, and I'm fine with that. And I'm going to plant these over here, and we are going to fight this uphill battle all summer. We're going to try to fence this off, so I'm going to show you that. We're probably going to end up having to trap some coons out of here before we get that point. Likely we're going to have to run a low wire and a high wire to keep the coons and stuff out, because this is thick coon country through here. So but let's make this video long enough. I'm headed to the other one, so we'll be there in just a second. Okay guys, we moved over to the other side of the farm. This is what I didn't want to do whatsoever. This is going to be a nightmare, to say the absolute least. I don't know if you can see all the standing water. It's just a freaking swamp. There's not going to be anything as far as tractors coming in here. It's not going to happen. Not even a possibility. So it's going to be very difficult getting the blind set over here. All this is going to be so difficult to mess with, but to me it's worth it. Making sure that we've got a good spot. What I'm going to do here, as you can see, it's hard to see in this video. Before I turn the video on, I was looking, you can't see, but there's a logging road here, there's a logging road here, there's another one right here. You can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's 3 pretty good sized logging roads that all came to a head right here. And best I can tell, maybe 3/4 of an acre or so that I can get in here and plant the brassicas. So not going to be ideal for sure. Going to be a lot of no equipment. It's going to be a lot of hand spraying. I'm hopeful that once I get it sprayed once and it kind of dies back into the ground, that I can spray it the next time with the Ranger. But this time it's going to be 100% for sure, all sprayed with a backpack sprayer. So I've done that before. Really works well for those places that you can't get your Ranger or your tractor to. But that's the plan, is I'm going to spray all this, I'm going to fertilize all this, and then I'm going to have a brassica plot in here in case my plot over there doesn't turn out. We're going to have something to hunt over. So we'll have oats over there if the corn doesn't make it. Hopefully the corn does, and we got corn and oats over there, and then we'll have brassicas here. But anyway, regardless, even if we don't need this is going to open up this woods where we can shoot into it. And that's been a thing for this farm. Deer in these part of the county don't like to come out into the field for whatever reason. And this spot is going to give us that, being able to see down in there. These deer, a lot of times they'll just kind of transition right on the edge. What's going to put us in a spot where we can harvest some of these great big bucks that are down in this swamp. So y'all stay tuned. This is episode 1. I'm gonna have episode 2 coming out. It's probably gonna be a little while. I hope to, and this as the summer comes on, I hope to post an episode every week and kind of take y'all along as the crop progresses, from everything from fertilizer to spraying to planting, crop progress, and things like that. So but thank y'all for going along with me.